In the world of oncology, a successful drug launch is the ultimate validation. It's where years of scientific rigor meet commercial reality. But what if a company didn't just have a successful launch, but one of the most explosive launches we've seen in recent memory? And hidden in its pipeline, it has another asset with data so compelling it could completely reshape the standard of care for a devastating form of brain cancer. That is the story of Nuvation Bio, ticker NUVB. This is a story about a commercial execution happening right now, fueled by a drug that isn't just best in class, but potentially unprecedented. Today, we'll break down their newly drug approved for lung cancer, Ibtrozi. We will uncover their next blockbuster in waiting, Safusidenib for glioma, and we'll explain why this company is on a clear, fully funded path to profitability. Let's get started.
Biotech breakthrough stuns medical world. This is the pill that could change everything.
Before we dive into the drugs, we have to talk about the people behind them, because in biotech, a proven track record is everything. Nuvation Bio was founded in 2018 and is dual headquartered in New York and San Francisco. It was founded by Dr. David Hung, a serial biotech entrepreneur with one of the most legendary success stories in the industry. In 2003, Dr. Hung founded a small company called Medivation. He identified a promising molecule, in-licensed it, and led the team that developed it from a lab experiment into one of the most important cancer drugs in the world, Xtandi, for advanced prostate cancer. Under his leadership, Xtandi went from the lab to FDA approval in just 7 years, one of the fastest development timelines in pharmaceutical industry. The drug became a mega blockbuster, reaching nearly 6 billion in annual sales globally, and the payoff was monumental. In 2016, Pfizer acquired Medivation for 14.3 billion in an all-cash deal. This wasn't a lucky break. This was the result of a vision, scientific acumen, and flawless execution. And now, that same founder, Dr. David Hung, is at the helm of Nuvation Bio, aiming to do it all over again. So, this is the kind of leadership that gives investors confidence. It's a team that has already built a mountain and it's now building another one. Novation's story begins with their lead asset, Ibtrozi. To understand why it's so special, we need to start with the problem it solves. Ibtrozi is a highly targeted therapy for a specific type of non-small cell lung cancer. This cancer isn't caused by smoking. It's caused by a genetic mistake called ROS1 fusion. Think of your cell's DNA as a massive electrical wiring diagram. A ROS1 fusion is like two wires getting crossed, creating a faulty switch that gets permanently stuck in the on position. This switch constantly tells the cancer to grow and divide 24/7. The job of a ROS1 inhibitor is to find that faulty switch and force it back into the off position. But this cancer has a terrifying habit of spreading to the brain, which is protected by a natural defense called the blood brain barrier. Imagine a fortress wall that stops most drugs from getting inside. Older drugs either couldn't get past the wall at all, or they were like a master key that, while turning off the ROS one switch, they also messed other important switches in the brain, like one called TRKB. Hitting TRKB is linked to severe neurological side effects like dizziness and confusion. And this is where Ibtrozi's brilliant design comes in. It is a precision cut key engineered to be up to 19 times more selective for the ROS1 switch than for the TRKB switch. This high selectivity means it can be given at a powerful dose that completely shuts down the cancer's growth engine everywhere, including deep inside the brain's fortress, without causing the same debilitating side effects. Some of the world's top oncologists have called it Goldilocks drug. It hits the cancer target just right, making it a fundamental advancement in cancer therapy. So, a superior design is one thing, but the clinical data is what truly sets Ibtrozi apart. And frankly, the numbers are unprecedented. Let's start with newly diagnosed first line patients. In its pivotal trials, Ibtrozi demonstrated an overall response rate of 89%, meaning 9 out of 10 patients saw their tumors shrink. But the durability is the real headline. The initial data show the median progression free survival, the time until the cancer starts growing again, of 46 months. That's almost 4 years. To put that number in perspective, let's look at some of the most successful targeted oncology drugs ever launched. Tagrisso, a mega blockbuster for EGFR lung cancer, had a median PFS of 19 months in its pivotal trial. Alecensa for ALK lung cancer had 26 months. Repotrectinib, the main ROS1 competitor, had 36 months. Ibtrozi's 46 months was already in a league of its own. But it gets even better. The latest data in the official FDA approved label with more patient follow up is so good that the median progression free survival and duration of response are now listed as not reached. In layman's terms, this means the drug is working so well for so long that with over 40 months of follow up in some patients, they still haven't reached the halfway point where 50% of patients have progressed. The data curve is just flat. And what about the brain? In patients who had already been treated with another drug, Ibtrozi still produced an intracranial response rate of 66%. It is dominating the cancer inside that fortress as well. Even in the second line setting, for patients who have already progressed on another drug, Ibtrozi still delivered a 56% response rate and the median PFS of 10 months. Again, superior to competitors. This is the definition of a best in class profile: dominant efficacy in every treatment setting, unmatched durability, and superior brain penetration. So, with data this strong, the commercial launch was poised for success. But no one expected it to be this good. Ibtrozi was approved by the FDA in mid June 2025. In just the first 7 weeks of launch, 70 new patients were put on the drug. The uptick has been incredibly broad, seen in first, second, and third line patients, and across both major academic cancer centers and community oncology practices. And in a surprising vote of confidence, doctors aren't even waiting for patients to progress on other drugs. Nuvation has seen patients switch from crizotinib, entrectinib, and repotrectinib simply because of Ibtrozi's superior profile. This is almost unheard of in oncology, and the reason is clear. Crizotinib doesn't get into the brain, and entrectinib's PFS is only 16 months, and repotrectinib has significant tolerability issues. Ibtrozi is the clear choice. Because of its incredible durability, Ibtrozi is turning ROS1 positive lung cancer from an incident story into a prevalence story. Patients will stay on the drug for years, stacking up year after year, creating a US market opportunity that Nuvation project that Nuvation projects that Nuvation projects could reach 3.8 billion by year 4. Well, you'd say a blockbuster drug like Ibtrozi would be enough for most companies, but Nuvation Bio is not done. Let's pivot to their next major asset, Safusidenib, and the devastating brain cancer it targets, IDH1 mutant glioma. Gliomas are tumors that grow from the brain's support cells. In this specific type, a genetic typo in a gene called IDH1 turns a normal, helpful enzyme into a rogue factory. This rogue factory stops doing its job and starts pumping out a toxic substance called 2HG. This toxin builds up and rewires the brain cells, trapping them in a primitive, cancerous state where all they do is just multiply. This disease often strikes younger people, and while the low grade form is slow growing, it is relentless and ultimately fatal. For the high grade, more aggressive form, there are no target options at all. So, how does Safusidenib fight this? It is a precision engineered molecule that acts like a master locksmith. It travels into the brain, finds that rogue IDH1 factory, and shuts it down completely. It doesn't touch the normal, healthy ADH1 enzymes, only the mutant one. So, when the production of that toxic 2HG is stopped, because the factory now is stopped, the cancer cells are no longer trapped. Their normal programming can restart, and the uncontrolled growth grinds to a halt. But here's what makes safusidenib truly unique. Preclinical data suggests it does something more. By cleaning up that toxic environment, it seems to unmask the tumor to the body's own immune system. It's like taking camouflage off the enemy, allowing the body's natural defense to finally see the cancer and attack it. This could be the key to the incredibly deep and durable responses we're seeing. And the early clinical data from this unique approach is truly jaw dropping. So, this is where the Nuvation Bio story goes from great to extraordinary. Let's compare safusidenib's data directly to the only approved drug, vorasidenib. In low-grade glioma, vorasidenib got approved with an 11% overall response rate in its pivotal study. In an early study, safusidenib showed a response rate of 33%. That's 3 times higher. The data is so compelling that Nuvation is already in discussions with the FDA for a head-to-head trial. Now let's look at high-grade glioma, where the unmet need is even greater. The response rate for vorasidenib in high-grade glioma is 0%. Safusidenib, in contrast, demonstrated a 17% response rate, and critically, a third of those responses were complete responses, meaning the tumor completely disappeared. Let me tell you about this patient. This patient with glioblastoma, the most aggressive and difficult to treat brain tumor, had a complete response. His tumor was now just gone for 3.5 years now. This is the kind of result that can redefine the standard of care. Nuvation is already launching pivotal studies for both low and high grade glioma, targeting a multi billion-dollar market where patients can stay on therapy for over a decade. So, with two potential blockbusters, the financial picture is critical. And this is another area where Nuvation Bio stands out. As of June 30th, 2025, the company had a robust 608 million in cash. This balance sheet was recently bolstered by a 250 million non-dilutive financing deal with Sagard Healthcare, a major vote of confidence in the Ibtrozi launch. And here is the takeaway. Management has stated that this cash position provides a clear path to profitability without the need to raise additional capital. So let that sink in. A commercial stage biotech with an explosive launch and a deep pipeline that does not need to dilute shareholders to fund its operations. This is extremely rare and significantly de risks the investment case. Now, let's speculate on valuation. But before we do, it's important to understand the inputs. Our scenarios are based on three variables. First, how completely Ibtrozi dominates the ROS1 lung cancer market. Second, the outcome of the pivotal trials for safusidenib in glioma, and whether it succeeds in one or both indications. And third, overall execution. For our share price ranges, we'll use the current share count of roughly 342 million shares. And as we go forward, there are three key metrics to watch every earnings call. First, keep an eye on revenue growth. This is the number one proof point of the launch's success. Second, gross margins. For a specialty oncology drug, we expect these to be very high, in the 80 or 90% range, confirming the drug's profitability. And third, operating margins. While negative now due to launch and R&D costs, watching this number improve is the key to tracking their path to overall profitability. So, with that in mind, here are the scenarios for peak sales. Number one, the base case. Ibtrozi becomes the clear standard of care in ROS1, capturing the majority of a 2 to 3 billion prevalence market. Safusidenib gets approved in either low or high grade glioma. The company becomes a profitable mid cap oncology leader. This could support a market cap of 8 to 10 billion dollars or a speculative share price in the 23 to $29 a share. Then we have the optimistic and bull case. Ibtrozi completely dominates the ROS1 market globally. Safusidenib succeeds in both low and high grade glioma, becoming a multi billion dollar franchise on its own. The company becomes a major oncology powerhouse or is acquired by big pharma for a significant premium. This scenario could push the market cap north of 15 billion or a share price above $44 a share. That would be really nice. And now the bear case. The Ibtrozi launch, while strong, faces unexpected payer headwinds or tougher than expected competition. The pivotal trials for safusidenib face delays or fail to replicate the stunning early data. The valuation would then be based primarily on Ibtrozi sales, likely in the 4 billion range, or a share price of around $12 a share. Now, these targets are based on peak sales, and peak sales could take a few years to be realized. So, this brings us to the final verdict on Nuvation Bio. The bull case is overwhelmingly compelling. This is a company that is firing on all cylinders. They have a truly best in class commercially launched asset in Ibtrozi that is already outperforming. They have a pipeline asset in safusidenib with data that suggests it could be transformative for brain cancer patients. And critically, they have the cash and the strategy to reach profitability without diluting shareholders. The bear case is largely focused on execution risks. Can they maintain this incredible launch momentum for Ibtrozi? Can they successfully navigate the FDA and run flawlessly the pivotal trials for safusidenib? While the early signs are excellent, late stage developments are always risky. So, for investors, Nuvation Bio represents a rare opportunity to invest in a company that is already a commercial success but still possesses the explosive upside of a clinical stage biotech. They're not just building a drug, they're building the next major oncology company. And as always, this is not financial advice. The valuation scenarios are speculative and based on numerous assumptions. You should always and always do your own research and due diligence before making any investment decisions. What are your thoughts on Nuvation Bio's launch and the potential of safusidenib? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.